40 countries have descended on Cape Town for the 2022 edition of the Rugby World Cup Sevens. The Springbok Sevens and the Springbok Women's Sevens teams have the added pressure of being the host teams. But playing in front of your home fans should motivate them, and hopefully we do anticipate that they will motivate them. eNCA's sports reporter Justin Ford is in the mother city, and he's joining us for an update now. Good morning to you, Justin. I mean, obviously we are having a Rugby World Cup Sevens tournament that is happening at one of the biggest and most historic moments in the world, and that is the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. We do not know what World Rugby will decide where the two nations, of course, that do come from the United Kingdom, being England and Scotland, are concerned. But what would you anticipate will be happening? Would we see them being withdrawn from the competition? Because that too will affect the World Cup if they are.
Yeah, good morning, Moreno. Lovely to be able to chat to you from what is a sunny yet cool Cape Town at the moment, as you would see the Cape Town Stadium as my backdrop. Moving back to the passing of the Queen, yes, we are well aware that the second test, or at least the final test, day 2 between England and the Proteas, has been suspended, and a later call will be made if that test will in fact continue. I've managed to speak to some people within the space for the Rugby World Cup Sevens here in Cape Town, and it is still unclear as to whether England will choose to not take part today in the competition. So we will wait to hear on that. Another important note is that there are quite a few Commonwealth countries that that are also taking part in the World Cup here. So we will definitely keep a close eye on that and be able to speak to hopefully some of the fans later on about how they feel on the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, and notably King Charles III now taking over that mantle. But still an exciting time to be here in Cape Town, and I'm sure these fans will hopefully hope that their English team does one for the Queen, and potentially they could go ahead and claim and be those world champions.
You speak of an exciting time, Justin, and you've mentioned the fans. How many of them do we expect to fill up Cape Town Stadium? Do we expect them to fill up Cape Town Stadium?
So we had an interesting conversation with the mayor of Cape Town earlier this week, Jordan Hill-Lewis, and he was touting numbers around 160,000 fans over the course of 3 days. Notably, Cape Town Stadium can host between 55 and 60,000 fans at full capacity. So, roughly we are expecting, that to be at full capacity. There were still a few tickets available that was announced by SA Rugby this week. But I think, the fact that these lastminute.com request by the Capetonians could possibly have been taken up. So that in itself, we expect hordes of people. Today still being a working day, might be a slow start to the day, and we might just see the stadium fill up a bit later. The important note is that the Springbok Women's Sevens team, they will play the penultimate game at just at 25 to 7 this evening, and the Blitzboks, they will play the final match at 3 minutes past 7 this evening. So potentially this evening, Moreno, we will hopefully see a capacity crowd at the Cape Town Stadium, and surely for the rest of the weekend we'll see good numbers walking in.
Just before I let you go, Justin, you mentioned a conversation you had with the mayor of Cape Town. What has he done in terms of making sure that the competition is unaffected, but also that the lives of Capetonians who might not be interested in the Rugby World Cup Sevens are also not affected? Because I can imagine the streets come later on today will definitely be buzzing.
Absolutely. So we will be reminded of the 2010 FIFA World Cup, where we had the fan walks in operation, allowing fans to walk the streets of Cape Town, leading to Cape Town Stadium. So that will be in effect as well. As of this morning, the park and ride facility, we're encouraging fans to actually use the My City route into the stadium. So those are the two areas that they've come forward with in order to ease the traffic congestion into the stadium. Fans have, or at least the Capetonians themselves, have been warned of road closures for this week. So the call is that hopefully the disruption will be minimal for those not affected, or at least not interested in rugby, as you mentioned. But all in all, I think Capetonians enjoy a good party, and I think the Rugby World Cup Sevens tournament is going to be exactly that. Often we find with the Cape Town Sevens, where the action on the field is actually a side story to the entertainment and activations that we see in and around the city. So all in all, a party expected in Cape Town this weekend, and I am surely happy to be a very big part of that.
I can only but imagine that you're happy yourself, and of course our boss Vatang Gobeni, the sports editor at eNCA. You guys will definitely be having an amazing time, as this is the very first time that South Africa gets to host the Rugby World Cup Sevens, the second major rugby competition we are hosting.